Okay, I've got a question. What do marriage therapy, an alpaca farm, and a pet portraiture have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2022's We Wish You a Merried Christmas. We've got a lot to talk about, Jennifer.
We certainly do, Josh, and we'll unwrap it all in this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
If you like holiday movies from the classics to newbies, let's sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh. Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Hi, friends. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jennifer, and we are loving the new movies. The season is upon us.
The season is upon us, and I got to tell you, 2 movies in, I am so glad that we are at the time of season 1 of our podcast, Jennifer, where we've got some new movies. It just seems like there's a lot of new excitement around all of this.
There is. I was so excited. I actually cheated on our pod and watched another movie in addition to what we had drafted. I watched Noel Next Door on Hallmark too.
Ah, well, there you go. I'll let it slide.
Can't help myself. I can't help myself.
Well, we've got a good one to talk about in this episode for sure, and we have some special guests coming up. But first, this is 2022's We Wish You a Merried Christmas. Jennifer, here is the IMDb. It follows a married couple having a hard time connecting, and to try to reconnect, they check into a cozy inn in a small town during the holiday season. And I think we were both pretty high on this one when we were in the draft, weren't we?
We were. So now we just have to wait and see, did it live up to the hype and the expectation?
Hmm.
We'll see. Yeah,
We'll
Kristoffer
see.
Polaha, I always like when he's in the movies. And the leading lady, she was in Christmas CEO last year, and I liked her in that too. So that alone, my elf ears were perked as we talked about.
Well, there we go. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. So, for a film about marriage, we thought it would only be fitting to bring on our spouses. So, I have my wife, Lauren, my wife of 10 years, my very patient and loving wife. And Jennifer, your hubs, Andy, is there.
He is. We are approaching our 7th wedding anniversary. Is that right? Time flies when you're having fun. And
And
he's
fun
just the
fact,
most amazing, perfect person ever.
I know. And speaking of fun facts, we actually were the DJs at your wedding.
The perfect gig for you. Couldn't have asked for a better couple to do it.
Though we have no DJing experience. So that was very trustworthy.
I saw something in you. I knew you'd be in front of a microphone one of these days.
See how it all works. All right, so
Yep.
let's get into it with this movie. We wish you a Merry Christmas, and we're just gonna all four of us sort of chat about what we thought about it and thought about some of the messages about marriage here.
All right. So we open the movie. Work is crazy for our leading lady, whatever she does. I still don't know what she does for a living, but we just know she's busy, and that's all anybody needs to know.
Mm.
Work is busy for the husband too. He's a director. He actually is directing a cheesy Christmas movie, which I thought was very meta of them to throw in, but I guess he does other things as well.
Seems
And
very
so it's kind of a
Christian.
little bit of like The Office, like it's zoomed in close on both of their faces. They're doing this interview style intro, and then it zooms out and they're in marriage counseling. Except they called it, what did they call it?
Marriage coaching.
Marriage coaching.
I think because we can't talk about therapy.
I guess not.
Well, it's
Cuts to a
Hallmark.
Kelly Clarkson Christmas intro song. I'm here for that always. And they start, we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of their marriage issues. They fight about where the microwave will go, but we all know it's never about just where the microwave's going to go. It never is. But he doesn't listen to her in her opinions. He's taken on this kitchen renovation to, as I guess, a ploy to kind of help their marriage, but he's not listening to her. He blows her off. He's consumed with it as well as work. I think if they did a microwave drawer, the marriage would be saved because it's easily accessible and it's discreet. So just if you're having this issue, listeners, check out a microwave drawer. Neither here nor there. Yeah. Okay. So they were supposed to go on a couples retreat to Europe, but they had the big remodel going on. So they have instead decided to stay home with their busy lives, and they sent both of their parents on to Europe without them.
Who seem very nice, but they're clueless about what's going on with this couple. They think all is fine and dandy, but it's not.
Correct. So this couple has been married 13 years and they are growing apart. So the counselor sends them to Gracious, Vermont. It's a couple hours away. And what do we think about Gracious? Hot takes.
Well, can I also ask, how much is this counseling costing? Because this is a giant, like, counseling room. It looks like busy New York
that
City.
room is extravagant for sure.
Yeah, the painting behind them while they're having this very elaborate marriage coaching is very sophisticated. And I'm with you, Andy. I thought the room was very ornately decorated. It's high dollar marriage coaching.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, for all their troubles, I don't think finances are one of them.
Well, this
So,
That's true.
yeah, for sure.
That's true. Yeah.
you know,
Without a doubt.
they've got
But in
that on
terms of
lock.
Gracious, Vermont, I thought it was every other small town Christmas town you've ever seen. I did like that they put population 513 on the sign in Gracious.
Yes.
So you know it's a small town. There ain't nobody there. Would you put?
Cute sign.
Cute sign.
Sign check. We drive into Gracious. They're kind of getting the lay of the land. Someone walks by with an alpaca on a leash. And this is not, it's the first, but it's not the last alpaca sighting in this movie, which that alone makes it stand out to me. We'll see if it's good or bad, but it's definitely different.
I have alpaca problems. I'm just gonna put that out there that I will circle back to it later, but I have problems with the alpacas in this movie.
We'll come back to that.
He's
Yeah.
putting his foot down on the alpacas out of the gate.
Okay, so what are the leads' names? I can't even.
Robbie and
Robbie and
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Mm-hmm.
Robbie and Rebecca. Thank you. So Robbie has anger management issues he needs to work through because he's trying to get through town. He's got some road rage. She's like, "Hey, cool it, it'll be fine." They pull up to the Green Bray Inn, and it is, like you said, every bit of these movies we've seen before, but it's very charming. Rebecca booked a 2-bedroom suite, which is not what Robbie was really thinking. I mean, that does kind of set the tone for not a great getaway if you're trying to repair your marriage.
But it seems like that's very much reflective of where they are. And this movie really wants you to realize early on that this retreat is sort of the make or break moment for this couple, right? They really want you to know that they're kind of hanging on by a thread at this point.
The stakes could not be higher. So they get a dinner reservation at the inn, and it's very early in the evening, earlier than our Robbie ever wants to eat. But when Bex joins him at dinner, he took the liberty of ordering for the both of them, and he ordered them steak. Turns out Bex stopped eating steak 3 months ago.
He was trying. He was trying to have a romantic dinner, but he didn't work well.
Right.
I
He
thought
did
that
make an
was-
effort.
Yeah, I thought the most offensive thing about this was that the server said, "A moosh, a boosh." That's like not what it's called. If you give an appetizer, it's a moosh boosh.
Oh, fancy. Yeah.
There we go.
I'm not sophisticated enough to even know. But now I do, and I'm better for it. Thank you.
Don't say
This
a
is also
moosh.
our
Amoosh boosh.
A moosh boosh. That's not how you say it.
Anyway,
Anyway.
she's
Like
given
our-
up meat, right, Jennifer? And
Yeah,
so,
ordering a steak for 2.
yeah,
Rude.
it was, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, Andy. Like, I'm totally with you. He was trying to do the romantic thing, but it totally just backfired. And he is absolutely crestfallen that it did not work out the way he wanted it to. I felt bad about him in this moment.
We also note the very festive vest that the waiter is wearing.
Yes.
One
A
of
lot
many
of-
different ones that we'll see later on.
He has apparently a
throughout the
whole
movie.
wardrobe of festive
Yes.
vests.
It's a choice for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Okay, so they talk and they've drifted apart. They're beyond repair. They decide to go home the next morning. Cut to the next morning. They walk out. They check out of the inn. They walk outside, and a giant ornament fell from a tree that they were parked under onto his windshield. Well,
Stop
our
it.
anger management Robbie is none too pleased about this. It just sends him into a tailspin, which I get it. It was a very large.
I mean, what
ornament.
was this? It was huge.
Well, we learn at the end of the movie it's a ploy. It's how they get people to stick around
Right.
in their own. This is all a setup, is what we learn.
That's
That
an
we get little
insurance
hints
issue.
of it that the inn owners are in with the marriage
Uh-huh.
counselor, and she sends people here and says fix them, and they pull out all the stops to fix it. So windshield
Which
shattered. Cindy from Cindy's Garage shows up to tell them that she can fix it in a few days to a week if they're lucky. They're not happy, but what else can they do? I guess they can't Uber their way back to the city. So they check back into the hotel for the rest of the week. And the innkeeper says, the rest of the week's on us. Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. And they take
how
it.
They
convenient.
take him up on it. I wrote,
Well,
Robbie is so cantankerous.
I'm just kind of wondering what kind of kickbacks this therapist is getting in Manhattan
Yeah.
from all of
Yeah.
this. It seems like
Patching
there's
everybody's windshields.
some sort of ethical line that's being blurred here in this marital counseling situation.
If I didn't love the townies so much, I would be more skeeved out by it. I
Yeah.
think. But
For
they
sure.
can do no wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're gonna make the best of it. Robbie and Bex go to the sipping shop, and we see a grown man wearing mouse ears selling cheese.
Sweet dreams are made of cheese.
Am I
They
disagree?
I want
He had
that.
no lines though. He just stood there looking sad, selling cheese. And how can you be sad when you're selling cheese?
I know.
Yeah,
I thought the
nobody's
guy,
gonna be sad
Andy,
doing
the
that.
guy
Yeah.
looked way too sad to be someone who spends his life eating cheese. I mean,
Yeah, I'll eat the cheese. Yeah.
And Bex, our girl Bex, she's a snacking. I mean, she's getting her snack on this whole movie. And she's definitely eating her feelings about this divorce
yeah.
on the horizon. And so they go to the sipping shop. They get tipsy and make the best of it, but they buy basically the entire shop. And Robbie gets roped into helping bake pies for some charity or children, something. What was that?
not important.
Yeah, the inn owners needed help, and so she helps them. So they wake up the next morning with the entire storefront in their 2-bedroom, little room at the inn. And so Bex is like, okay, they've asked us to go around town and pick up all of this baking supplies for the pies. So she says, I can drive the stick shift because they have to borrow the inn owner's car since their car is in disrepair. And she cannot drive a stick. And I wrote Andy LOLs and cries because
That's my favorite part of the whole movie.
it was very funny. I mean,
don't know why.
the comedy of the stick shift, her trying to drive, and Robbie's like judging her, and she says, not a word. She's not into it. She knows that she can't drive a stick shift, but here they go. So they round up all the supplies, and then they say, oh, there's a twinkle light parade coming up. And I said, that sounds amazing in my notes.
Yeah.
I felt like
All right.
there was a big missed opportunity here because this is right when they're going to start thinking about baking, and there was a missed montage opportunity.
That's what I put
And
too. I
oh,
was
look at
like,
that.
I feel a baking montage coming on.
And it didn't happen. And it felt like the biggest.
No.
No, there
No.
was. Listen,
They
if
had
there
a
would have been a baking
bartending
montage, Jennifer, you
montage.
know, I
Yeah.
would have noticed
Yeah.
it.
I put in all caps later baking montage. They put on the aprons.
The inn owners did.
An
No,
apron
Robbie
does
and
not
Bex
a
did.
baking montage make, Jennifer.
Yeah,
There was no
well,
music, there was no whisking, there was
Oh.
no blender, there was no flour. It
We
was
only
just
had a montage
Ah.
with the bartending.
yes, we got a bartending montage
Well,
later. but
yes,
that
I
was-
did note that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll get there. Okay, so we meet Kayla, and she does colorful pet portraits, which is odd and quirky.
Especially in a small town of
and
513 people. I mean, how busy are you going to be? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
yeah, we see a portrait of Al Dente, the alpaca, on the wall. This movie is bizarre because it's like it doesn't know if it wants to be funny and quirky or really heavy and serious, which
Mm.
I'm here for. I'm just going to show my cards. I love the movie, but it was a little bit of whiplash of what are we doing?
Yeah.
Multiple times I said, what is happening to this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt very
Mm.
much like throughout this movie. You're right, Jennifer. It was dealing with these sort of heavy things about relationships in trouble, and it didn't know if it wanted to be all in on that kind of a thing, or if it wanted to be like,
We're
oh, by the
gonna,
way, we're
like,
funny.
paint your
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. They were trying to walk the line, but here we are. So then our leads, they drive to a farm to see the alpacas and the silos, or what is it? Was it silos or water towers?
Rain something.
They're dressed
Yeah.
like snowmen, and we get a lot of shots of that. And
They're very proud of that.
it warmed. They should be.
That's
It
the
was
decoration.
very cute. I appreciated it. But so the owner of the Christmas tree farm does alpacagrams. She gets a lot of requests
Like
for
cameo.
some side hustles of alpacagrams. So if anybody's wondering what to get me for Christmas, I think we want an alpacagram. About it again.
Well, sure.
Noted.
Okay, so they get back to the inn and they try to sneak upstairs because they don't really want to participate in any more of the inn townie events. But the townies spot them and they're warming up to go caroling. And so they can't sing, but they are a hoot.
And they
And
just happen to have extra costumes on hand. Just
Perfectly
in their
sized
size.
for them.
Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
dressed very Dickens-like. They
Very.
try to sing, and I guess the restaurant server has the hots for Kayla, the pet portraiture girl.
Yeah, but she wants
Yeah.
nothing to do with him, which I feel offended for him.
Well, she was recently divorced, we learned later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so they go have hot chocolate, and they are kind of reconnecting. The ice is thawing in their marriage a little bit, but Robbie has to go chew out the contractor over this kitchen remodel.
Get a
Then
clue,
the inn
Robbie.
has
I
a
mean, come
leak.
on.
Yeah, I got a clue.
Yeah. The inn has a leak and the owners have stretched themselves too thin, and so they need help with the baking of the pies. And Robbie reveals he took a secret souffle course a month ago,
Like you do.
so he can help bake the pies. And Bex's feelings were hurt about that, which I guess if I took a secret souffle class, you'd probably feel some type of way.
But I wouldn't feel betrayed like she was in that, like
Well, it's kind of like if you're hiding a secret souffle class, what else are you hiding?
Yeah. You should
Mm.
be doing something other. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who
Oh.
knows?
that's
It's a gateway.
You
Yeah.
should be
It's a
learning how to
gateway.
make pizza in a clay oven.
Yeah.
So then they decorate their own stockings and they have a communication breakthrough. He reveals that he was trying to give her the kitchen for Christmas. That's why he's been so obsessed with the kitchen remodel. I think he also has control issues, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that.
Um,
Mhm.
And so they kind of have a breakthrough, but the whole movie, it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So they are still kind of lonely, still sleeping in separate rooms, etc., etc. So the next day, the inn has hung their stockings by the chimney with care, and the innkeeper tells her that if there's a reason, Lauren, the marriage coach, sends people up here, and it's to be sweet to one another. So she figures out the stick shift, and they go back to the alpaca Christmas tree farm to get a tree to decorate because that will help heal their marriage.
It always does.
They used to decorate a lot together, I
Yeah.
guess. And they were going to go on a hayride, I guess, on a tractor of some sort to chop
Yeah.
down their own tree. But there
Mhm.
are 2 rejected return trees that are giving very much Charlie Brown vibes. And they say, we'll take those. And they each decorate their own tree.
But they're not helping the situation because they're each getting their own tree. So they're still separated tree status.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
felt like I wanted them to put those 2 trees together and decorate them together and sort of do this thing of like, see, they are better together and have that kind of like moment that was like, see, like we're better together. Like I felt like I needed that at this point in the movie because it's like we've done a lot of this sort of tap dancing around these issues. And I just wanted them to sort of have something that spoke to their potential together right now in this movie.
Jerry, their dog, is a big influence in the movie. He's always trying to get them into some hijinks and be a matchmaker, but he leads Robbie to a storage room while they're on a walk, and Bex walks in with some macaroons because she's big on macaroons. And the door slams shut, they get locked in, and it takes them forever to get out of it. So again, they kind of apologize to each other for all the miscommunication they've had in their marriage. And then they go back to the Christmas tree farm and do an alpaca gram for their parents.
Random, unnecessary.
Yeah.
Robbie then asks Bex on a date, and they're nervous getting ready and what to wear and this, that, and the other. And they go
Too much
downstairs to have a
lipstick.
early dinner. That was too much lipstick.
Oh, my.
The Facebook message boards that I'm a part of said that her eyebrows were too thick. I mean, they were like big on the eyebrows, and I'm not going to give her shade. I thought she looked beautiful, but anyways.
You look great. For
Yeah.
sure.
So it turns out the staff's ugly Christmas party is happening downstairs. So they can't have dinner, but of course the staff's like, come on in, just be a part of it. Oh, hey, so and so, I want a drink like this. Can you make that? No, I can't. Well, don't you know Robbie and Bex met bartending in
Yeah.
college. So we get our first bartending montage that I've ever seen. in
Yeah,
one of these
I
movies.
love that.
I was
I
here
love
for the bartending montage.
marshmallows, snowman.
Some great
like
garnishes on some of
garnish,
these drinks. It
yes.
was just really, it was a fun little montage, I
Excellent.
thought. Yeah.
They showed at the end the kids walking away, which I don't know where these kids came from. I guess they're staying there, but they made sure
Working there,
to
Andy,
make
child
it
labor.
known, yeah, that here's your hot chocolate, kids. That we're not serving you like underage drinks here.
They must have gotten some feedback on a pre-screen. They're like, "Are you giving the kids alcohol? No, 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 no."
I did like that they called Robbie out for his sweater, that I thought was perfectly normal. It
His
was
red sweater,
his red
yeah,
sweater.
cable knit.
That it was that he had his ugly Christmas sweater on, and like that's a lot of
Yeah, and
shade to throw
he
at
was
your.
like, oh, yeah.
We laughed out loud
So
at that
somehow,
moment.
I don't remember how, but they had a spot for Jerry on the parade float coming up. There was one dog riding on the float. They had a spot for Jerry. Our boy Jerry's going to ride in the float. Couldn't be happier about it. So we see the parade. The parade takes approximately 2 minutes to go by. It is the snowman doing some weird dance, our King Jerry the dog on a float, and a couple of decorated trucks, and then Bex and Robbie are like, "Oh, I bet there's a break. I wonder what's next in the parade." And the crowd disperses. That's it. That's all we get. They were very excited to see it. The townsfolk
Very
were.
excited because apparently Bex really likes a parade, and that's one of these things about her personality that they want you to know. Just prior to this, Jennifer, they did, after they bartended and the whole thing at the ugly sweater contest, they got caught under the mistletoe. And so this is the first time that they smooch. And I wrote in my notes, and the kiss feels ... conflicted. Like it
Yeah.
it felt a little like, where's this gonna go?
Which I think that's how it was supposed to make us feel. So I think that was a
Yeah.
good job on their end. But
I
yeah,
thought so
it was
too.
very cold. It was
Very.
not a very warm kiss.
Not the warm
Like
moment.
his
Yeah, exactly.
arms next to
Mhm.
each other.
Okay, so Bex goes back to see Kayla at the pet portraiture place because they took a picture of King Jerry, the dog, on the parade float. And she says, "I'm going to give this to Robbie for Christmas. Is there any way you can paint Jerry before then?" And she says, "Yes, of course I can." And then they go on a light holiday stroll. They dance and sing in a decorated barn event stage place. Robbie and Bex do.
Mhm.
Snowman.
He gets on one knee and dramatically apologizes for taking her for granted and declares his love for her. And then they have a real kiss.
They do. And it's then when I pause the movie to figure out how much time we have left. And at this point in the movie, we've got about 30 minutes left. And I'm like, where's this going to go in 30 minutes?
Like,
Because I was envisioning this moment as the end of this movie.
Right. No. But wait, there's more. So they get back to their room. I keep wanting to say apartment, but the room at the inn. And Robbie says, "Hey, will you stay up and watch this VHS tape with me of our favorite movie, A Christmas Carol?" Whose favorite movie is A Christmas Carol?
Not mine.
Black and white, creepy version. It wasn't even their favorite because they both fell asleep, but they were kind of
Yeah, they
canoodling
had
on
the
the couch.
jeans
And it was
and
cute.
sweaters on. They fell asleep.
With a dog on them.
With the
I mean,
dog.
my goodness.
Yeah, like no.
No.
It seemed very cozy, but here we are. The next morning, they walk out and the car is ready, and there's a big red bow on the windshield. And they're like, "Oh, but maybe we should go ahead and stay because I want to go to the Christmas market and we have this and that, and maybe we should stay." Okay, so we're on the right track. They go to the Christmas market and it seems delightful. Lots of longing stares at one another. They want to have happy days again, want to grow old together. They talk about any happy time they talk about is from when they traveled together, basically, in years past. Remember when we were in Vienna and da 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 da. So he goes to get her, I think, more macaroons, right? Or hot chocolate or something.
Obsessed.
Some
Sponsored by
snack.
macaroons.
Girl loves a snack.
I'm not even big on macaroons. Is that a hot take? Do you all enjoy a macaroon?
Yeah.
I'm like middle of the road on a macaroon. I mean, I'd rather have an Oreo personally.
Is it cookie? I mean, what is? I mean,
A macaroon's basically a fancy Oreo.
But it's tasty.
I don't.
Are you saying an
associate that
Oreo's
with
not
Christmas, though.
tasty?
Yeah.
Oh.
There goes our Oreo sponsorship.
We will be starring in We Wish You a Merry Christmas 2 coming next year to Hallmark.
It'll just be called Back to Green Bray. Back to the Green Bray Inn.
Apparently, yeah.
So while he's getting her whatever snack she wanted, she gets a call from her mom, and mom's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you all are doing okay because you've only sent me pictures of him, and there's only one picture of you together, so clearly you have marriage troubles." Would anybody's parents or friends think that there are marriage troubles on the horizon if you just sent pictures of the other person you're with?
No,
That was a stretch.
I
it
feel
felt
like at
like a
this point,
stretch too.
she was looking for a problem that didn't exist, or she was trying to. I don't know.
She was overthinking
I didn't
everything.
buy the conflict she was bringing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then
It
she
felt a
says
little
the only
forced.
times we were happy is when we've been on vacation, and she's scared that when they get back home, what's going to happen? We'll have this lovely kitchen remodel, but what? And so she says we need to go home the next morning.
Yeah.
And there's a red peacoat.
Oh, I missed the red peacoat, but there you have it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Everyone's melancholy. She gives him the painting, or no, somehow the painting ends up in the trunk of the car. But did she put that in there, or did Kayla?
Yeah, I don't.
So she picked up the painting from Kayla, but she never looks at the painting. She just goes ahead and puts it wrapped in the trunk of the car with this note that felt very weird that she even wrote the note this way, because she writes this note that says, "We'll always be family. I love you," and then signs it. And I'm like, well, that's very sort of like could go either way, right? And
May as well
so
have attached divorce papers to the painting.
exactly. But he opens the painting and apparently just does a complete 180 about every problem they've ever had and storms up to her
And
on the
then
front
you start
stoop.
crying
I did not
too.
cry, by the way. And storms up to the front stoop and says the most lovely things to her, and they smooch.
Yes. And they check back into the inn.
Well, but only in one
Holding
bedroom this
hands
time,
with
of
one
course.
Yes.
one
Yes.
bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we see another ornament falls on another couple's windshield who are in the process of having marriage issues as well. And it's kind of a little wink.
right.
And
The
then happy
ornament
music
strikes
plays and they
again.
kiss again. What?
Lauren wrote, "The ornament strikes again." What kind of insurance does this inn have? I mean, my goodness.
In trouble for
And if they're
property
giving-
damage.
And if they're giving away rooms, like, what's the financial plan here? Like, how is this
Yeah,
actually?
what are we
That's
doing?
why the Green Bray Inn has leaks and stuff. They can't afford to fix anything.
But they can't afford to bake 9,000 mini pies, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all very weird to me.
It's a weird business structure.
Oh,
It is. It is indeed. All right, it's time for our gold or coal segment, and we're each going to give 2 gifts here. If there are more golds than coal, it's going to be Yuletide. If it's more coal, then it's going to be we just can't let it slide. Punny,
Not on
pun,
our
pun,
watch.
pun. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to go in order here based on what I see on my screen. And so, Andy, you're first. Give your 2.
Oh,
So I will say that I'll give a piece of gold to the parade. They are so excited that Jerry, their dog, is part of the parade. And there's a moment where Robbie just yells like the proudest father you would ever hope to have in your life. He's like, "Jerry!" And Jerry is so chill and like he's about to fall asleep on this parade.
Yeah.
Jerry's like, I do this all the time. It's no
But
big deal.
they have just this
I'm good.
gleam of, oh, that's our son. We're so proud of him. So that made me smile. But I talked about earlier about my alpaca problem. This movie could absolutely have been done without alpacas and had just the same amount of impact because the art for this movie has the 2 main characters and an alpaca in the middle. There's no need for that. Jerry worked way harder than the alpacas did, and he got nothing. So I think it was just a marketing ruse to get us to watch it, and I just won't stand for it.
It was a marketing ruse, and it sucked me in. I mean, I had somebody message me, "Oh, have you watched the alpaca movie?" That's
Yeah.
what it's known as. It's
Yeah.
quirky and fun. How many movies have dogs in it? And we still love Jerry. We stand Jerry.
Sure,
But the
man.
alpacas set it apart.
The alpacas weren't in it long enough to set anything apart. So that was my piece of
Coming to
gold.
Hallmark in 2024, A Very Merry Christmas 3 with Jennifer and Andy working through their alpaca issues.
Another ornament falls.
Oh,
All right, am I
Alright.
next?
yes, you're next.
Okay, I've got 2 gifts or gold. I am gonna give some gold for it was quirky and actually LOL funny. I laughed out loud legitimately at multiple points in this movie. And I liked that it was a different storyline than most. It's not just a young couple meeting
Mm.
at a, Christmas event and they fall in love in 2 seconds. That has an established relationship. They worked through some marriage topics. Again, I don't know that they really balanced the quirk with the heaviness as much as they could have, but I'm gonna forgive all of that and give it 2 pieces of gold.
Lovely. Lauren.
Oh no, you're next.
Oh, okay. Yes, me next. Okay. I am going to give a piece of coal here. I really like this movie. Let me say that. But I'm going to give coal here because I really wish we would have gotten an epilogue because I would have loved to see 1 year later what all they had learned about marriage and prioritizing each other, what that looked like in their day-to-day life, because that was their big hang up in the last half hour of the movie. Like, we're in this bubble here. What's it going to look like for us in real life? And that was the thing that kept them from really going all in. And I wanted to see them all in back at home. Now, I will say that I'm going to give gold here because I thought that there were excellent townies throughout this movie. I loved
Yes.
everyone who was a townie. I thought they were great characters and really well cast in this movie. So,
Well, and Andy had a good point. There weren't too many townies.
Yeah.
Like some of the other
Right.
movies we've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
It was a manageable amount of townies.
exactly.
Mandibles Mountain.
And last but not least,
Okay, my most favorite thing about this movie was the guy that had the t-shirt on that said "Sweet dreams are made of cheese." To disagree. That was like,
so Lauren's giving gold for the cheese guy.
yes.
Yeah.
I saw it even before they like zoomed in on it the second time. That was like my most favorite. And then I thought the girl that was the artist painting the pets and
Layla.
yeah. I I didn't like her at first. She seemed super annoying, but then she kind of won me over at the end.
So is she gold or coal for you?
Gold.
Okay, she's gold.
Yeah, I liked her.
Lovely.
She's quirky and weird, and I'm quirky and weird too. So I just,
She resonated.
yeah,
Perfect.
I liked her.
So we had 6 gold and just 2 coal, which means in this one it's a Yuletide.
Hey, we loved it. And
Yeah.
we had more people to give input too. So
Yeah.
I thought this,
could've gone
Jennifer,
either way.
I just thought that this was a really fun one. I can see why Hallmark put this one really at the front end because it was obviously 2 well-known leads. It was a really fun plot, and I think it just really worked as a movie.
Yeah, and if I see it on again, I would definitely have it on. I would keep it on.
Mhm.
I would love the alpacas.
The marriage
Yeah.
coach's name was Lauren. So
Oh,
there's that.
well, there you go. Such a
What was that?
wise oracle about marriage. The marriage coach's name was Lauren, and so, but
We
of course.
stand.
And that, friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch? We want to thank our spouses, Lauren and Andy, for joining us tonight, and of course, supporting our podcast, Pipe Dreams.
That's very true. They are so supportive, whether they maybe want to be or not. And special thanks to Nick Schwartz for our theme song, and of course to you for listening. Hey, if you like our podcast, be sure to review, subscribe, tell a friend, do all the things. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Do You Watch What I Watch? So give us a follow, leave a comment. And if you ever are in doubt of how to get in touch with us, go to doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. It's all there, including links to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, check us out there. Hey, next time we've got a new one for you on Hallmark, debuting A Kismet Christmas. Here's the scoop from IMDb. It tells the story of Sarah, a children's book author who returns to her hometown where she reconnects with her family and her teenage crush. She soon discovers that a family legend might actually be true. We're going to have a lot to discuss. And until then,
May your days be merry and bright. See you next time.